I was walking by the fountain the other day and I was thinking, how much does it cost to run the UJ fountain? And I thought that this could be a good way to show, I think, what engineering thinking is. So I was looking at the fountain as I just took a short video of it, and yeah, I came back home. Well, I thought about the calculations as I walked home, and this is what I came up with. So I thought, so say there's a fountain, like counting for each of the pumps. So this is the pump, and this is the height of the water. And I was looking at the height of the water, and I thought maybe it's about 3 doors high. Each door is 2 meters, so 6 meters of height. Of course, when you do engineering calculations, you ignore air resistance. That's what engineering is, keeps you grounded. You forget about the nitty-gritties of the theory. So you ignore air resistance, right? And if you use some equations of motion and calculate, assuming that the water gets to a height of 6 meters, and the acceleration due to gravity is that, then the initial velocity of the water as it leaves the pump has to be 10.85 meters per second. And then assuming it's a centrifugal pump with a diameter of about a radius of 0.5 meters, meaning from here to there it's 0.5 meters, the entire thing is 1 meter. Well, I think this is a bit oversized, but yeah, as assuming it's a centrifugal pump with this radius, then we have to calculate what is the power that each pump is outputting, like what's the output power of each pump. And so we know power is energy per unit time, and I thought, so how do I get the energy per unit time per pump? And I know that energy per unit time can be calculated as a force times distance per unit time. When you move this over this side, it's force times velocity. So I thought, what is the force? The force has to be mass times acceleration. What is the mass then? Mass is volume times density. And I know I can't get the volume because it's a changing volume. It's a volume per unit time. So I have to calculate the volume per unit time. And what's the volume per unit time? Assuming each of those pumps has a nozzle size of about 8 centimeters, I thought maybe it could be half my palm size, half my hand size. Half my palm size. Then not palm size, hand size. Why do I keep making that mistake? Yeah, half my hand size. Then say it has a diameter of 8 centimeters, and then the cross-sectional area of the water column that's going up is going to be pi r squared. So pi times 4, which is the radius, half of 8. That's the cross-sectional area times the velocity. What this gives us is a volume per unit second. So this is the volume that's exiting the pump per unit second. Well, assuming of course laminar flow and that the entire cross-sectional area of the nozzle is being used by the water as it exits. And then using the density of water, this is the volume that you have. Using the density of water, calculating the mass per unit second, I get that 54.36 kgs per second. And then, as I said, assuming the pump diameter is equal to 0.5 meters. The reason why I make this assumption is because I need to know what force, in order to get the power, I need to know the force. What forces are being exerted by the pump on the water. And so I need to know what acceleration the water has to go through, assuming of course the water goes from an initial velocity of 0. What I mean by that is the water is initially stationary, and then the pump pushes the water out of the nozzle at a velocity of 10 meters per second, starting from 0 meters per second, going to 10 meters per second, within the distance that is available inside the pump. So what would the acceleration be? So I assumed a 0.5 radius that gives me a diameter, a circumference of 3.14. There's another underlying assumption here, but I won't go through it anyways. And then going through the calculations, well, I get an acceleration of 1.3 meters per second. So now I can calculate the power. The power will then be force times distance times time. In this case, I have the mass per unit second, so I can just move, this is mass times acceleration, which is force. I can just move this t to here, and then I have mass per unit time times acceleration times distance. And that's the mass per unit time we calculated before, that's the acceleration, and that's the distance, and then I get 563 watts. So I just rounded that off to about a 600 watt pump. And then I counted, I think, 14 pumps on this side. I couldn't really see what's going on the other side, so I just said, let's say it's 2 times that, that's 28 pumps. 600 watts per pump times 28 pumps, that gives us 16.8 kilowatts. And then if maybe you're running that all the pumps for 6 hours a day, that gives you 108 kilowatt hours. But then of course the pumps are not 100% efficient. So you assuming the pumps are 60% efficient, then you get this is the amount of energy you need to supply to the whole thing. And so using that to calculate the cost at 2 Rand 71 cents per kilowatt hour, you get about approximately 500 Rand per day to run this fountain. So yeah, that's it.